Hey, welcome to Mike the Baptist. Good to see you back here. Good to see all you guys back here. Fellows at the table here with me are supposed to be here. So it's called the Three Preachers Series, and they're three preachers, so it all works together. Neil Andrews, nice to see you.
Thank you, Michael.
Been to Jamaica, I understand.
Yeah.
Been to Ireland, been to Jamaica. I went to Millersville. Something is not equal here.
Well, you can come with us.
I'll go with you next time.
Okay.
But it's good you came here today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's always good here.
Yeah, we're doing a program, so.
We are?
Mm-hmm. That's why we came.
Okay.
But the coffee was free, so.
It's important.
Anyway, everybody here at the table is kind of tired, so it should be an interesting episode.
Starting to wake up here. We're good.
Good. Yeah, the coffee's kick in here in a little bit. But anyway, it's good to see you, Neil.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's also good to see Michael Koontz.
Hello, Jackson.
Nice to see you across the table there. And Koontz and I, from day one, got in the Koontz and Jackson mode, didn't we?
Yeah.
Kind of like a law firm sort of thing, but I like it.
It works.
Yeah, it does work. Good to see you back.
Thank you. It's so
Did you go anywhere? You go anywhere exotic?
Went to Virginia.
That's right. That's pretty exotic.
It was pretty cool.
Oh, wait a minute. I always used to think you were from Virginia.
You did?
Why did you go to Virginia?
For a Navy chaplain that was retiring after 25 years of service.
You know, I did see that on the Facebook.
As the Facebook sells all.
Yeah, I did see that. So how was that? Pretty interesting?
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was actually pretty emotional. Mm-hmm. All the pomp and circumstance that goes along with military stuff. And then hearing him talk about his 25 years and addressing his family and stuff, it was really neat.
Just quickly out of curiosity, is that because of your chaplaincy connection?
Yeah, through the SBC.
Yep.
Sure
okay.
Is.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you got to go do that.
Thanks. Yep.
I did see the pictures. So, H.D. Jones.
Good to see you, Michael.
You been anywhere?
I've been here. I'm kind of like you.
Yeah. It's just an adventure right here.
It is an adventure every day.
Well, it's good to see that you ventured across town.
I did.
And came into the studio to
moving on up.
I'll venture over your way in a day or two. But anyway, good to see you. And glad to have everybody back. We've got some email this week. You know, I keep talking all the time about send us an email. And you'll see a thing across your screen right now if you're looking at a screen. And it'll suggest that you send something to us at comments@mikethebaptist.com. You can direct it to me. You can direct it to Neil. You can direct it to Koontz, HD, Jason, the Preacher's Wives, anybody you want to. We'll get it to where it needs to go. So, interesting comments on both of those emails that came in this week had a lot to do with the fact that people seem to like the buzzer because the buzzer is what's trying to keep us talking real here. So I am very, very happy that that was the comments that came in, or part of the comments, that people appreciate us trying to talk real. That is the focus of what we're trying to do here. We'll get a little churchy in the middle, but when we do, we will buzz ourselves. One day, before long, I'm going to give us all a buzzer.
I thought that was to keep us from being too churchy.
Oh, it is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, right. I mean, I'll use it in the middle when we do get churchy, because, you just naturally go into that.
If you don't want to get churchy, go get buzzed, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, and we'll follow up on that. There's a shirt coming for that. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes over.
Gotcha.
Getting buzzed on MTB. Anyway, so thanks for the comment. Send us more emails. We'll expound on other things that you folks said in those emails on a later program, because we might just actually talk about some of those things. But not today, because we have some serious things to talk about today. Well, not that those aren't serious. I'll quit talking right here.
Other serious
things. www.mikethebaptist.com. You can go there, look at old episodes, find the links to podcasts. You can buy something, buy a shirt, buy a mug. A few folks have bought things lately. We were able to fix our refrigerator.
Praise the Lord.
Yes. Keep Koontz's Coca-Cola's cold. So,
amen.
I hear these shirts will help keep your dog from getting sunburned.
Yeah, we got a picture in from a friend this week who I knew had bought a couple of those shirts, and I tell everybody I want pictures so I can shamelessly use it for advertising. So I got a picture. She'd put it on one of her dogs.
Has PETA gotten involved yet?
Oh, no, but I'm ready for PETA.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. PETA's not going to sneak up on me. I'm from the hills of Arkansas, but it's a long story. But anyway, buy something and then send us a picture of yourself, and we will shamelessly use it to plug other things. But there's probably more things, but we're going to move on because I want to go to the front porch visit. What happened was the last time we taped some episodes of Mike the Baptist, we actually taped this episode, or the topics on this episode, but somewhere in the middle of taping that, all the equipment went haywire. Well, which is a good reason to buy lots of shirts and mugs so we can really update all that equipment too, but that's another story. Anyway, on the front porch visit today, we're going to pick up where we didn't leave off last time. I confused myself right there.
Speaking in double negatives, yeah.
Is that what that was?
Maybe.
I confused myself.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Anyway,
Perhaps.
on the front porch today, we're going to talk about things we do, either now or as kids, on long car trips. I mean, you know how incredibly boring it can be in a long car trip. I will say the most incredibly boring stretch of interstate highway in America has to be between Memphis and Nashville.
Oh, yes.
On Interstate 40.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Indiana. I would definitely say between Indiana and Ohio.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that cornfield territory?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I've been through some of that, too. That is a little boring.
Yep.
So I'll drive up through there sometime, too, and compare them, but
There's not a lot to compare. You have a little more hilly
we do have hills
area
here. Yeah.
Indiana and Ohio.
It's just corn.
Nothing. It's just
corn and power lines.
soybeans. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you may be right.
Power lines, and now I hadn't been back there for a long time. They have the solar, the power generators.
Oh, really?
The big windmills.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you like those?
No.
I don't either.
Oh.
They don't look good for one. And but now I have seen going down the freeway. Have you ever seen one of the wings on a semi? It takes they put it on like two trailer beds.
They're huge.
And they're not even
yes.
connected.
Yeah.
The first one of those I ever saw, I was really confused. But then I realized later on what that was. It's really, really big. So driving through Indiana or between Memphis and Nashville, anywhere where a long trip, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about what you do or used to do as a child to pass the time. HD, let's start with you.
Great. Yes. So, yeah, we used to go to Clearwater, Florida. It was 13 hours in the car. And I was real excited when we got front wheel drive because then the space in the back where the
drivetrain.
Yeah, the drivetrain goes, it was smaller than a rear wheel drive car. So you could then put pillows on both sides, and I could lay in the floor, and then my sister could lay up on the bench seat. That made it, or at least sleeping, I think, is what we did most as kids. Just try to sleep. If my grandparents went with us, then it was 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and for some reason my grandparents were always hot.
Yep.
So we had to have the air conditioning on freezing, and I'm weighed less than 100 pounds, and I'm up in the front and center console just freezing to death. It was crazy. But
what'd you do to pass the time? I mean, sleep is probably the number one thing.
Yeah, sleep is the number
you can get to
sleep is the number one thing that you can do. Yeah. I don't really remember doing anything fun. Yeah, we didn't have VCRs and TVs and all that stuff. The kids now, they watching movies and having all kinds of fun. We'd play dumb games. And
did you do bathroom stops? Or
gosh, yeah.
Your parents not do that?
Oh, they didn't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
But they did?
Yeah. Every now and then you just got to. We didn't have Buc-ee's, we didn't have any of that fun stuff back then.
Had Stuckies.
Stuckies.
Yeah,
Had the Stuckies and the pound rolls.
Not
That's
Buc-ee's,
right.
Stuckies.
That's right.
Truck Stops of America. That was a big deal. It wasn't very interesting.
I was expecting some wild redneck travel episode.
Jackson is so sad right
know,
now.
right?
He's like,
I am. I don't know what to do.
I know.
Did
you might want to give him a
play
pass
the
and let him come
alphabet
back.
game?
We didn't do any
You
of that.
play the alphabet game while you're driving?
We didn't do any of that.
You know that.
We did.
I do know that.
Yeah.
It's coming.
When we did get to the place where we could take 2 cars was back in the era of CB radios, you know.
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, you had to come up with your call button. You had to come up with your, what'd they call
sign.
it? Call sign. That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good
Had to have
buddy.
your call sign. So my dad's always had cattle, so he decided he was going to be the cow man. Well, my grandfather decided he would be the big steer. And then we had to explain to him
Brilliant.
what
Brilliant,
determines
Grandpa.
you being a steer. And
didn't think that one
and he
through.
wanted to change it, but we just kept calling him I mean, that was
Yeah,
like
he
the
did.
biggest thing.
He
you
did
know?
not think that
Oh
through.
yeah, every time we go out to eat, somebody would be like, "Big steer," and he's like, "Shut up."
Handle. That's what they call it.
Yes,
your handle.
That's it.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. I don't even remember my handle, but I had one because we all had CBs. And in fact, I started a little club in my hometown. It was all designed around aggravating the local night watchman, and started with me and one buddy. I was number one, he was number two, and then by the time it was over, we had 21 guys that were part of this little club, and that was all we did. We just aggravated the local night watchman.
Back at church, we were close to the interstate, and every now and then the sound system would pick up CB radios. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! You talk about entertaining. You know, it's like
Heck, you get excited.
yeah, oh yeah.
In a hurry.
That sermon went off the rails.
Yeah, preachers
real
trying to
quick.
talk about Jesus, and you got, you know, Breaker 19, let's pull over here. And
I have a confession to make.
All right.
I'll make it here before we move on.
Did you hit record?
When I was a young man, young single man.
Is this? I didn't hit the record button again.
No, we're recording. When I was a
Okay,
young,
all right.
I was a young single man. CBs were a big thing, and once in a while, a young single man would hear a nice sounding voice coming over, you know, from the speaker there of the female persuasion, and I recall hearing one of those voices one evening out there, and talking to it up into the hours, the late, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, somewhere out running around, and agreed to meet this voice on the top of the mountain above my hometown. And I remember pulling into the area where you pull up on top of the mountain and seeing the car, and I remember easing up to the driver's window real slow, and when I looked in there, I never stopped. I just eased on out. The voice did not match
Right.
what was in that car.
Right.
I just thought I'd confess that. I've never confessed that before. But okay, Koontz, this is a good time to move on to.
Yes, because this has been a week of confessions.
It has been. Okay,
Interesting.
Koontz,
Yeah, so on our family trips, Mom would always go out and get us something, so because Dad didn't have any patience for nonsense in the car, so she was responsible for keeping us from causing stress on my father. So I can remember one of the games that she bought us was the little flip things. If you saw something driving down the road, you'd it's almost like a tic-tac-toe, but you'd flip it that you've seen that
I remember
motorcycle
those.
or a certain sign or something like that. So we would do that a lot. We'd do the license plate game or try to collect the states,
right.
Later in life, it was it punch bug thing? You see a beetle, certain color, and if you're the first one to see it, your brother slugs you. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of bruises at that time in life. And then as I got older and started driving myself, and again, this is this deja vu, because I don't know if this is the last episode that didn't happen that we're trying to redo now, or if this is a different episode that I shared this.
But we'll act surprised anyway.
We will.
Yeah, so you just forgive me. Was trying to beat the gas mileage that my car would tell me that I could make.
Yes.
Because the computers in them now are just awesome. They tell you how far you can go and
Right.
what your average mileage is. So, I still try it today, even though I fail. But for years, I could always see what the car says, distance I could go. But I could always go a whole lot further than what the car thinks I could go.
Right.
And beat it. But now it's kind of pointless. It's like down to the 10th of the mile.
too accurate.
It knows
It's
exactly where we're
it's
going.
not really a challenge anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of sad now. But yeah, so I guess that's it for us.
So, did your folks ever reach back and swat you? I mean, like if you got on real
They
leave today.
probably did, but there's a lot of repressed memories there. So,
Yeah, I understand.
Dad didn't have much patience, so a lot of things I don't remember very well.
Right. Yeah, you kind of.
And if you bring them at it, may be a bad show.
Yeah, we won't move on. I just know that happens from time to time. Mama had a switch usually. She kept a switch from a little peach tree around back of the house.
Now, see, Dad was the one that usually did the whippings for us.
Yeah.
But
if my granddad, who's dad,
Yeah.
if he did the whippings, you're fixing to be in some really major, serious trouble.
Yeah,
if he took over. Yeah.
We got the talks, if I have to pull this car over, or we're going to turn around and go back home. Yeah, we've already gone 5 hours. We're not turning back home.
Okay, so Neil.
Yeah, I just made a couple of notes here.
Okay.
I hear things that make me think that would be a good album title.
Yeah.
And I wrote down "Nonsense in the Car."
That would be a good album
Good
title.
album cover. Yeah.
Yes.
Title. Yeah.
Huh.
And what you
Interesting.
just said, I remembered. There's a comedian named Tim Hawkins.
Yeah, he's funny.
And I think he was the one that was talking about not being able to reach the kids. And he said, you just tap the brakes, it puts them into play.
He's really funny.
He is very funny. Yep. Heard him, I think in Hendersonville, it must have been First Baptist down there. Mm-hmm. And the place was packed with people, and we kind of sat not in the front. Mm-hmm. And he'd say stuff he's saying, and everybody's laughing, and then he'd start talking before they stopped laughing again. So I only heard maybe a third of what he said.
Yeah. There's a little audio problem there. I was actually at their church last weekend with some family of mine in from Arkansas who used to be work on the staff with that pastor there, Bruce Chesser.
Yes.
He worked with him in Little Rock years ago, so they came out to visit, and we all went to church down there together. And I noticed there's a little bit of a sound issue when you're back up under the balconies, which is where we were sitting. You lose a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay,
so I didn't mean to change subject. Let me stay on task.
All right, gotcha.
Sorry about that. I didn't have anybody to punch me in the car. I'm an only child, so most of my
punched himself.
I was waiting for
slug
that.
Behave. Yeah. No, I remember reading comic books, and riding in the back window.
Yeah,
that was because
that's back in the day.
Yeah, their car was big enough to have.
And that sun would feel so good coming through that window back there. So comfortable.
Good memory. Yeah.
When they tapped the brakes.
Yeah.
I do recall how that felt too. Like it was just kind of scramble to grab something.
Yep.
Interesting. So did they ever swat you? I mean, did they reach back there?
No, my memories of that are minimal. I don't remember getting the memory I have. I may have said this before. I bet I did. I know I did. The last time my mom got really disturbed with me, I was probably like 12 or 13.
We did talk about this.
She chased me around the house with a yardstick.
Yeah.
And got me back, and I was in one of the bedrooms. I couldn't get out. I was stopped there, and she went to swing at me, and I put my arm up, and it busted the yardstick. And she said, "You wait here. I'm going to get another one." And I'm like, "You raised me better than that. I'm not waiting here."
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Interesting.
Yep.
So
quiet car rides.
My brother and I would eat all the marshmallows out of the Lucky Charms box on the way back from the grocery store. I remember that. Those were not long car rides, but I just remember being in the car eating those. And I think I did talk briefly about my grandmother popped her chewing gum. She had like a little cavity or something on one of her back teeth, and when she would chew her gum, it would snap, 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 and just pop these little bubbles just constantly. That drove me nuts. And then Daddy, my granddad, would suck his teeth.
Like
you got something in between. And it was just, so on long trips especially, I mean, by the time I got there, I looked like a cat that had been in a paper bag for about a week coming out. It's just like, it's just in such a
So you're on a sugar high,
frenzy.
And you were annoyed.
Yeah, we had all the Lucky Charms marshmallows, and we were just ticked off. But it got a little, it took a while for it to ramp up. But surprisingly, Brother Hodo started out so calm.
I did. I'm sorry.
And I'm wondering if you thought of anything else.
I did.
Well, then we have to go back because...
Is it related to a hairpiece caught in a belt?
No, it's not.
Okay. No, you're going, so, it's going to take a lot to talk.
Yeah, it is. So I do remember things we used to do, like they would not let you do today. So a buddy of mine's dad had a camper on the back of his truck, and he put down some carpet in the back, and we rode in the back of that truck all the way to somewhere in Alabama, I remember. Well, we got bored. And of course, it's loud. It's metal, and it's loud, and all the road noise and everything. Of course, it's hot. So we got bored and we popped the back hatch open. And we were taking these little sour ball things and dropping them on the interstate and watching, because, man, as soon as they hit, I mean, they would jump like 25 feet up. They were hitting cars. Cars were swerving, blowing the horn at us, you know. I just thought that was hilarious.
Well, let me just say.
Here we go. There's some more confessions.
Right. You can still do stuff like that these days, but people just don't anymore.
I know.
Well, that's because you get shot for doing that.
Well, so listen.
We have lost our sense of humor.
If you're
Why
a kid,
can't I break your windshield?
if you're a kid listening to Mike the Baptist today with these friends of mine, ride in the back of the truck once in a while and crawl up in the back window
On the interstate.
on the interstate. And here's a game idea for you. Count dead animals. Keep a list of all the dead animals you see. Like, you get 5 points for a deer, 2 points for a possum. Try that. You'll be wildly entertained, and your parents will be so happy.
Actually, if you got a trunk and some garbage bags, you could pick that stuff up and turn it in at a rendering factory and make some money.
And there's that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So kids, send us an email and pictures to comments@mikethebaptist.com of your flat dead animals, and we'll post them. I'll promise you, kids or adults, if you'll collect some flat animals off the highway, and
Ones
send
with
us
stripes,
a picture,
ones with road stripes on top.
we'll show them right here and give you credit for it.
We have gone completely off the rails now.
We are. It's a good time to take a break and get more of that coffee. And then we'll come back and talk about some stuff we found in the Bible. How's that sound? You'll never hear us say at Mike the Baptist that you need our logo t-shirts or hoodies. Just like you wouldn't hear us say that you need Barry White music. But now that Mike the Baptist has logo coffee mugs, we are a little tempted to point out that coffee would only have to taste better out of something that special, or a good hot cocoa, or a rich, smooth cappuccino in one of those brand new 11 or 15 ounce coffee mugs with that warm and inviting Mike the Baptist logo with the fake neon lettering. No, we'll never tell you that you need stuff, but we might remind you that it's not a sin to buy stuff like that, and that a little of the money you spend goes toward keeping Mike the Baptist on the air and in your head like a good Barry White album turned up to 7 while you do your taxes or trim those hedges. Find out more about the new logo coffee mugs and our t-shirts and hoodies with funny little sayings and our logo at www.mikethebaptist.com/merchandise.
Talk about Jesus.
That was bizarre right there. That was really bizarre.
We're going to celebrate the massacre of the creation.
We used to joke about doing that in Ohio. There were so many roadkill, as you call it.
And the people still buy hides, raccoons and stuff. They still buy that stuff.
What do they do with it?
I don't know what they make out of it. Well, they
make Jekylls.
Like what?
Jekylls and Hydes.
Well, they make a...
See what you did there. Fought single-handed in the engine war.
Davy Crockett. Have we got that one out of the hymn book
King
yet?
of Wild Frontier.
No? Anybody need anything else before we...
Wing and ding it.
Hey, we're back. I think it's still the best-selling book in the world ever, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The Bible?
It is.
Pretty sure it is. That's pretty fascinating when you think about it. I mean, there's been a lot of books written.
It's been translated into 730 something languages.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Those are 730 languages.
Yeah, I didn't know there. I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
How many countries are there?
And we still got like 2,000 to go.
No, more than that. There's 7,000.
Well, there's a lot of dialects
languages
within.
They just need to learn English. I mean, how lazy are they? Come on.
Wow.
Well, there's like 8,000 dialects in America. Well,
America?
There may be 8,000 in Tennessee and Arkansas. But the Bible, it's still a bestseller, and I think it's more than just because it's like one of the oldest books and all that. I don't think it's because of what's in it. That's just a guess. That's my opinion, but I'm right. So,
At least on your own show.
at least on Mike the Baptist. Anyway, I just like to talk about the Bible a little bit before we talk about the Bible, because it's a fascinating thing, and I'm sure whatever we stir up today is going to be fascinating as well. And we're going to turn the preachers over on this one.
Absolutely. We've been continuing reading the book of Hebrews, and just a reminder that Hebrews really talks about the supremacy of Christ in all things. And as we get to chapter 11, it starts talking about these heroes in the faith and kind of how they put their faith in action. Noah actually built a boat. Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son. So it kind of lets us know that real people had to struggle with real life, but they were able to make it through. And so, the thing that I want us to kind of talk about a little bit is how does your faith help you persevere this life, and what are some things that you can maybe teach us to do better to help us persevere? Because sometimes life can be hard, and what is it about perseverance that you need faith?
Well, this week for us at the church, we're in Vacation Bible School, and getting ready for Vacation Bible School is a major ordeal. And Miss Becky, she pours everything that she is into it, but it stresses her out still. She has persevered through that and has just continued to stay the course and really do it with excellence. And then we see a service like last night at the church, where we had dozens of children come forward because they were making decisions or asking to know more about Jesus. And when you see the result of that perseverance, and we know that God can have this victory through all, no matter what the hard stuff is, God can have a victory. He can do something really good through it. That keeps us going, I think.
I'll take this gab out of here.
It's going to be one of those days. Did I take us off the rails?
No, you covered that so well. You covered that so well.
Yeah.
What was the point you were making right there?
Do what?
What was you were trying to say?
Right there?
I don't even remember what I said. I don't know.
It's like it all culminated in last night. Is that what you're saying?
It was an example. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because what did you ask us? Perseverance.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. How does faith motivate you to persevere? And I think part of that is, again, I think we get to chapter 12 and it says, therefore, since we have such a cloud of witnesses, it's just a reminder. When you really go back and start reading through that list, there's a reminder that these are imperfect people, especially when you get, obviously Abraham and Noah and Moses, we tend to put them up on a pedestal and think, oh man, those are the super saints, but he lists people like Gideon, Barak, who was unwilling to go into the fight, and Deborah says, okay, I'll go fight, but I'm going to get the credit. But he still lists him as a hero of the faith, and it's just interesting to me. Gideon, who doubted what God could do, and asked, make the ground wet and the fleece dry, and he got that, and he said, okay, now do it in the reverse, and he got that, and so I think it just helps us to understand that the things that we're working for, and I think that's what Michael was talking about, you have to look forward to see what God's going to do with your faithfulness today. Because today it's not all glamorous. It's not all, you don't see the results immediately a lot of times. And our very own Dr. Michael over here wrote the commentary that we've been reading through the church in this section of Scripture. And I liked what he had to say about his grandfather. That even though his grandfather's not physically alive, he said, I experience him every day because I remember what he taught me and how his faith has even lived past the grave. Well, that's a perseverance in a way.
Right. What struck me in reading this stuff to write about this week is how, like, all four of us here at this table are kind of living our life out. And I don't think daily that we think about 5 generations from now in our family or in the church that we attend. I don't think we really think about that daily, about anything we're doing today will affect or even be remembered then. But it struck me in talking about these characters in the Bible, these heroes of the faith or whatever, I suspect, after thinking about it, that they didn't think about that either. They were living out their life that day. Whatever's being written about, they were living that out at the moment, and they weren't thinking about.
Right.
So then it makes you think, and I'll use my grandfather because he's the best man I've ever known. He's just so kind, so good all the time. He was always the same. But I don't think he thought about that. He just he lived his life out, and the things he did just so happens made the rest of his family and anybody that knew him really respect him in a really good way. I don't think he thought one bean about that kind of stuff. I know he didn't. Very humble guy. But it just struck me that these characters in the Bible were probably like that. And all these heroes of the faith, if you read very much about them, you find out that they had flaws.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
So, the great things they did stand out in the stories, but then if you read very much around the great thing they did, you find out that they doubted stuff. They doubted themselves. They doubted God.
Samson. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some problems with women, right?
He might have. Very rare. So that gives me a little encouragement. Well, it's a church word.
Hey, was Samson, was that the Barber of Seville? Was that where that musical came from?
I never thought of that.
I don't even know what that is.
Did you watch Bugs Bunny?
Killed a rabbit.
Killed a rabbit.
We have,
Yes, the music is,
We're going way backwards now, but no. Okay, so carry on. So
no, but I think that's right, Michael. And, being at Temple, I've been there the last 20 years. And, of course, we've been in our building process. And when we were trying to come up with a name for what are we going to call this campaign and trying to get people to put money in, it just really struck me that down in the fellowship hall and what was our sanctuary, those were things that really I didn't pay for. I wasn't in the design process, but I was getting the benefit of what Emery Chesley and Charlie Doris and Cliff and some of those guys had invested into us. Long beyond the grave, they had invested into us to be ready to then do the next thing. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about, is this perseverance thing, because perseverance basically means to make it. And we wonder sometimes, are we going to make it? Well, how do we make it out there is just by living by faith today. And just doing the right thing today. And it may not be noteworthy today, but I just did the right thing today. But over the time of your life, you persevere through life, and I don't think you're going to see that until we get there one day.
Probably not. That'd be my guess too.
I think it requires that long view.
Yep.
As well, and that's difficult because you have to deal with what's right in front of you now, but your bigger perspective needs to be out there. They talk about the Japanese style of leadership, and I know the guys that did Honda. Sony's a really good example. Sony, they developed something and they would sell it for very inexpensive so that everybody would like it, they'd buy them, and then there was no competition for them, and then they could raise the price later on. But it's all about the long view. And, God gives us a long view of things because we know the whole story. But that sits in time. God's outside of that. So being able to read realistic accounts of people and what their tenacity and their faithfulness has led them to, and how God's moved through that is very powerful. It's hard in our culture because our culture is very contentious now, should we say, which argumentative. It likes to be. It's just automatically argumentative. And if you go into the next chapter in Hebrews in 12, it talks about pursuing peace with everyone. And that's a challenging thing to think about. Does it literally mean to pursue peace with everyone? Is that an even doable thing? But
Well, I think, we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to pursue it, but it ain't going to happen. Even within our own church, we're to be the people that are peace. When people are coming at us, we need to still bring peace to them and try to be loving towards them and stuff like that, even though they're going to be fighting towards us, I think.
It's natural to get mad, though,
Yeah.
for people to get mad. You get tired.
Moses got mad, didn't he?
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
People get mad.
recently.
I mean, so that doesn't mean that you're not going to get mad. It probably means that maybe you're not going to react in a way that's not. If you're mad, you just keep it to yourself best you can. And
Well, I think the whole idea of peace, the concept of peace and the reality of peace in this world are two different things. We know one day in heaven we're definitely going to be at real peace. We're going to really love one another and care for one another the way we should. In this world, it's possible, I think, to be peaceable.
yes,
But that doesn't always mean that we can live at peace. If somebody breaks in my house in the middle of the night and they want to hurt my family, I'm not going to be just praying for them.
right.
I'll be yelling at them going, the first shot is up high, the next one is going to hit you right. You're going to protect yourself. So
Sure.
you have to set those boundaries. And I think, that's okay for us to understand as long as we have the heart of peace. That what I want to do is I want to work toward a peaceful resolution. I want to be at peace with you. But the reality is we have to set some boundaries. We have to protect ourselves in a certain way. I think if you be honest, Jesus did. There was times when they tried to throw Jesus off the cliff,
Right.
and he didn't let them.
Nope. He just slipped away.
He
He didn't fight them.
He peaceably went away, and he knew it wasn't his time to die, and so he peaceably just kind of got out of the situation. But he didn't just stand there and argue with them, and he didn't just let them hurt him in that moment. But I think it's a great goal, but understanding that it's not always possible. Part of that's on them.
Right.
if you're peaceful within yourself,
Yep.
you're a lot more prone to, what's the word? Emanate that around you.
Ooh.
Hey, like that.
That's not a church word, but that's a good word.
I'm gonna buzz it because we don't use that much.
Exude,
Exude. I thought about exude, but then I thought that doesn't sound like the right word.
emanate, exude. I think those are
Something like that. But
Yeah.
if you're peaceful inside, if you're settled inside, somebody still may make you a little mad, but you're not likely to act that out.
It's what I was saying earlier. It's hard to to exist. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That's for me.
It's hard to exist in that place where if you're trying to pursue peace, and we all know the end. We all know what the end story is going to be. Why would we be anything except peaceful? Because we have to deal with the here and the now.
Yeah.
Right there. And things like you said, somebody breaking in and, a threat to your family, and you can talk through it, but it's like,
that's keeping the peace. Sometimes you have to do things to bring the peace back.
yes.
So keeping the peace might be something a little different than being.
Well, just like our police officers, they're keepers of the peace, but they have to do things to make that peace, right?
Interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of filled in a little gap there about, a lot of people think being a Christian is like carrying flowers in one hand and
We're not just pacifists.
sunflower seeds in the
That's
other
a
and
Krishna.
smiling. And it's what?
I think that's a Krishna.
A Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Well, I think some people have that kind of a picture for Christians, though,
Somebody
don't
have
they?
a toga.
I don't.
Let's go to the airport and run around.
Yeah, so I'm glad, it's good to fill in that little gap there, I think. And so that we're not just talking about when we say maybe our faith should make us peaceful. That's fine, but it's like H said, somebody crosses you the wrong way and you need to defend yourself or your family, that's a different kind. That's a keeper of the peace. I like that. Good explanation.
Yeah.
So why did these scriptures for this week go into warnings and all that kind of stuff?
Tell us, Professor.
Never mind.
Why did they go into warnings?
They did go into, some of it went into that.
Because your faith should keep you from falling away from the faith. It should cause you to help others stay close to the faith. Because I think part of the scripture, and I had to read it 2 or 3 times. I was like, okay, what's he talking about? But basically, he's talking about the holy presence of God on Mount Sinai, and how even if a goat fell off the altar and hit that it was, had to be destroyed. And so he's talking about holiness. So I think that's the big part of the warnings, is that we really don't take God's holiness into account enough, that our faith should help us understand God's holiness needs to be serious. We need to take that serious, and our sin, we need to take it a lot more serious.
I'll go back to the first, and I'll bring up my grandfather again. I'm not ashamed to bring him up because I learned a lot from him. After he's gone, I learned even more from him. But, we were talking earlier about, I don't think he or these people in the Bible or any of us think about, like Neil said, we think long term. We know where we're going someday. So that should motivate us, I guess, to kind of try to live up to that as the best we can as a human and while we're here. But I don't think we can see beyond that. We can imagine and kind of dream, but I guess just living out your life with the expectation that you are going to reap that reward for yourself, which if you don't think you're going to reap it for yourself, how are you going to expect that those behind you are going to reap anything? Mm-hmm. Which I guess is what we're talking about. These people lived out an example. Plain and simple. All the characters in the Bible, they're an example. We read about them, and then I guess everybody, I don't think it's just me, everybody tries to, in their head, I guess, put themselves in somewhere in these pictures so you can kind of relate to it and understand it. And
I think that's the point of it, though, is for us to see, again, how God, it's not about the individuals in Scripture. I would say that. That's my view.
Right.
It's not about all of these individuals in there. It's about how God interacts with those individuals. It's about God.
For us to see.
Right.
Which is why it's recorded there.
And you see things in those individuals that you associate in yourself or that you recognize in yourself, and how does God interact with that? That's
my big takeaway from today so far is that I should just try to strive to be that way, even though I don't totally understand what's coming after me. All I know is what came before me, and I see all these other people, my granddad, these people I go to church with, some who have gone on, these people, these characters in the Bible. I see what they did, and it turned out pretty good for them. And it looks like most of them simply just tried to stay the course in their own world for what they had going on, and it worked out good after they were gone. I guess that's all you can think about. I mean,
well, here we are thousands of years later, and they are encouraging us to maintain. Keep on going. Keep the faith, because God's going to take care of all this. He's going to use your journey.
And I think you're right that you don't see it in the moment. If we took $10,000 today and went and put it in a 5% CD, in a year, we'd make $500. Today, we'd make a little bit over $1. So if we just looked at our statement today, we would think, well, that's not that big of a deal. And I think so much of what we do on a daily basis, yeah, I read my Bible today. Yeah, I prayed, and I smiled at the lady that served me coffee this morning, but that's not that big of a deal. But God's looking at the long game, and He'll show you, hey, these things that you did in obedience that seem maybe even routine or mundane, God is using them in a much bigger way over the long game that's going to even affect the next generations. And I think we forget that sometimes. Just being obedient, just doing the right. I mean, you think about all the things that Jesus did in his ministry, but how many days were just normal days, him loving on people, meeting with the apostles, maybe even a day just by himself. We don't know a whole lot about the 40 days he was being tempted in the wilderness. We know the end of it when Satan comes at him because he was weak, but we don't know a whole lot about the other 39 days when he was just doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what he wasn't doing.
Eating.
He wasn't on the Facebook.
He wasn't eating because he was fasting.
He wasn't leaning up against a tree somewhere looking at Facebook.
No, he was not.
You know what? I think probably one of the first things you're going to hear when you get to heaven is...
That's what I'm going to hear when I get to heaven?
I think you might.
Yeah, because you're going to timeout for a long time.
Well, that and it's also going to get very real when you get there.
Oh,
I think you'll see all of this stuff then pretty clear.
I think it's going to happen to me what happened the day I got married. I think.
How come all the rest of us looked at each other?
Just wait.
He had an epiphany.
So Susan and I had dated. We had known each other for a long time. But in that moment, when I'm standing at the front by myself, and they open that door, and she's at her best, man, I about lost it. I think I did lose it. And I think there's going to be that moment when we step into eternity. Jesus is always at his best, but we're going to finally see him.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like, oh.
And that'll never end.
And that'll never end.
Always have that type of an impact on us for eternity.
Yeah. And in that moment, I think we will realize how bad our sin really was and how great his love really is. I think he wipes away every tear.
I think there's going to be a lot of tears.
What are the tears going to be in heaven? I think it's going to be regret, I should have taken this more seriously along the way.
I don't know what to add to that.
He landed the plane.
He did land the plane. So, how do you get saved, Neil?
Don Ho.
Don Ho and the Don Ho shirt.
What?
No, how do you get saved? How do you...
Rick Warren Jr., how do you get saved?
Can you get saved by yourself in a car?
Well, first of all, you have to acknowledge you're not by yourself.
Okay.
Jesus Christ is there with you in the form of the Holy Spirit,
What happened right there?
It was
a human moment.
Digital delay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
A human moment.
No, you're not by yourself at any time, but of course you can.
Okay.
It just helps if somebody is there that has experienced it with you before.
So you don't have to walk down an aisle somewhere.
No, you don't have to. And for a lot of people, that's a hindrance. I've seen that before when somebody they're all enthused and they know that they just need to turn their life over.
Well, there's some people that's not going to walk into a church building.
Right, absolutely, but they can still talk to the Lord.
I believe you're right. Mm-hmm. So, what would you say to him if you were that person?
If I were the person that's
what would you say to him?
To the Lord?
Yeah.
Yo? No, I would. I might say that.
Well, you might.
You might. Yeah.
He might say that back. Yo.
It would be, and it's different. It's different for. He probably would.
He could.
Yeah, it's different for every person, but I think it's recognizing who he is. First of all, that's a huge deal. Recognizing who he is, recognizing who you were created to be, but who you have been, and that you don't match up with what his desires are, that you never have, that you can't, but acknowledging that and saying, I want to do what you want me to do. I'm trying to make this as non-buzzer as I can.
Oh, no, that's perfect. I mean, that's about as simple as you can get it right there.
Yeah.
So you got to start somewhere, and that's where you start. Yep.
It's that recognition.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? I mean...
Yeah, I think we make it too difficult sometimes.
I'm pretty sure of that.
When Jesus started his ministry and he says, repent for the kingdom of God is near, The phrase repent basically means change your way of thinking. So to get saved, you have to change your way of thinking. And the way you change your way of thinking is it starts with God.
Ben, you don't have to change your way of thinking first.
No.
Because you can't. It's not going to happen.
It just starts.
It's not going to happen.
It starts with God. He has got to do the work, and you've just got to be receptive to it.
I have seen, fellas, I have seen people come into the church that I go to who you would not say was saved. You don't really know. You know,
you're not talking about Hodo, though, right?
Well, I'm pointing at him, but I'm not.
That's why I was wondering.
I put my hands on the table here for a second. No, I've seen people come in who I don't think were probably saved, who were probably Christians, but who were looking for that.
Sure.
But who spent a long time trying to be that before they actually gave theirself over to it, and then they left. I've seen that happen more than once with people. I've seen it happen. I say that just to come back to the point where that ain't where you start. That's where you hope to get to.
Yeah, we make it too hard a lot of times, I think.
Yeah.
You know, require too many things, and it's not that not that hard.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. So if you're listening, you can do it right now, and that part will be done. And then you move on. And then someday you might be as intelligent as some of the guys sitting at this table. There's something to shoot for.
Or shoot at.
Yeah. Or shoot at.
Something to shoot at.
Speaking of shooting at, we're going to take a break, come back and play Inny or Outty. That's always good shooting matches that happen right there. We'll be right back.
You may have seen people wearing Mike the Baptist t-shirts or hoodies lately and wondered to yourself, hey self, where could I get some of that bling bling? Well, tell yourself not to worry, because it's easy to order Mike the Baptist logo tees and hoodies for yourself or your family and friends. Visit MikeTheBaptist.com, click on the merchandise link, and shop away. Lots of colors and sizes to pick from. And now available, I'm Just a Christian Trying Not to Cuss tees and hoodies. Mike the Baptist is all about real talk with real people, spreading the good news to a world who can really use some good news right now. When you purchase Mike the Baptist tees and hoodies, you're helping Mike and the crew pay the bills to keep Mike the Baptist on the interwebs and talking about God's love for all people. It's really that simple. And we make no apologies for having fun and living out the Christian life. Order your tees or hoodies today with just the logo or familiar sayings you hear on Mike the Baptist episodes. Just visit MikeTheBaptist.com and click on merchandise. Thanks so much for watching and listening to Mike the Baptist and for your support in helping us spread the good news. What a great planet.
Hey everybody, it's time to play America's almost favoriteest new game show, Inny or Outty, where we challenge our guests to figure out if a phrase we give them is actually in the Bible or out of the Bible. Sharpen your wits, guest. You're about to be in the hot seat of Bible stuff, because you're the next contestant on Inny or Outty. Here's Mike.
Today on Inny or Outty, America's almost favoriteest new game show, which everybody understands exactly how Inny or Outty works.
It's so simple.
It is. How does it work, Koontz?
Well, I don't think we have to explain it.
Absolutely
it's so simple
not.
Because we're just talking about things. Is it in the Bible or not in the Bible?
There's no need to explain that.
No, anybody can do it.
So what'll happen is one of you guys will say something, and then you'll ask us, is that in the Bible or out of the Bible? Inny or Outty. It's so simple.
Yep.
A child can understand it. In fact, some children are playing it. I've been hearing. They probably don't have to explain it either.
And they're probably doing better than us.
They will have something to play on their road trips. We have.
Inny or Outty.
You know why?
Wow.
That's
we
exactly
need to
right.
make the travel edition of this for them.
Well, I've
Just
thought for
came
some
full
time about
circle.
coming up with a board game, and then talked to somebody in that business, and they said, well, you can't make any money with board games. And, of course, it's all about money, so I just dropped it.
I'm all right.
That's not
not
really
true.
that's not really how it happened. You can.
Board games are real popular.
Oh, well, who are
Very.
you talking to? I have had this thought, and
I'm not
I
kidding.
did go down the trail just a little bit, but I think Inny or Outty would work. I mean, we've been doing it for over a year here, and I hear other people doing it now too, after hearing this. So In fact, one of those letters we got this week, the lady said that she was, somebody was asking to pray for something, and she said, well, I'm going to pray a hedge of protection around you, but that's not in the Bible. And she said she got that from Inny or Outty,
Nice.
so she loves Inny or
I
Outty.
think that was one of our early ones, actually, wasn't it?
No, that's pretty recent.
Oh, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's okay, because they're all good. Speaking of good, Koontz, do you have one for us today?
I think I do.
Let's go.
So, Inny or Outty, silence is golden.
It's a 50 song.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Silence
go?
is golden.
Who sang it?
Well, I don't remember.
In my heart.
Never heard that.
So our other musician doesn't know that song.
No, the sound of silence. I've heard that.
The sound of
You
silence.
can't hear the sound of silence.
Miss Chadwick used to say that to me all the time in
Nobody's there to hear
study
it.
hall because
I think it's sounds. It's plural. Sounds of silence. You can hear that.
Did I say sound of silence?
Yes. That's like the sound of one hand clapping, right?
That'd be just one sound. The sound of silence. Miss Chadwick used to
Milking
snap
a
her
cow.
fingers like that. Jackson. She
Did it
never said
work?
silence. No, it did not work.
Now Alicia does it.
No, yes. There's always
Silence
somebody
is
that did it.
golden.
Silence is golden.
My gut?
What's your gut?
No.
Nope.
My gut is just straight up no. As I'm looking around to see if I'm getting a...
I mean, that seems like a proverb, but I can't think of anywhere where I memorized that from scripture.
It sounds like a phrase on a movie poster to me. I don't think they had movies
Oh, they had movies.
back in scripture days. You've seen them? The Ten Commandments and all that? Those,
Yeah.
that wasn't
That's
real.
actual footage. Charlton Heston was there.
Exactly. The sound of silence.
Nope.
Sounds.
Silence is golden.
Oh. What a day.
Transition.
What a day.
And modulated from one side to the other.
Sound of silence is the next episode.
Silence
Man,
is
what a
golden.
day. This coffee's not helping me that much.
Is it decaf?
Oh, no. I don't.
Okay.
I don't do that.
I can't think of anywhere where I remember silence is golden. I mean, obviously,
Great principle.
be still and know, you know,
Yeah, but silence
Quick.
is golden is kind of sarcastic.
yeah.
It's like,
Kind of like our pastor.
exactly. Silence is golden,
And so is HD. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, my gut says, and the rest of me says, no. That's
So
not in there.
we have 100% Jackson in today, not just the gut.
It's all in. I'm all in.
cool.
But if it's not,
Yeah, but gotta get my caveat in there.
I can't think of any place
I
in
can't
particular.
All right.
We'll go with Team Jackson.
So it's an Audi.
I think we have a unanimous.
Say that 3 times
Right.
really
I
fast.
think we're all on the same page, aren't we?
I think so.
I mean, we're 100% that ain't in there.
All 3 agree.
Y'all are all Audis. So silence is golden. Proverbs 17:27. The intelligent person restrains his words, and one who keeps a cool head is a man of understanding. Verse 28 says, even a fool is considered wise when he keeps silent, discerning when he seals his lips. Not in there.
We're right.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Good job, team.
Yeah.
I was so frightened because the way you were reading that, you were reading it as though
Here it
welcome.
comes.
Dun, dun,
absolutely
dun.
wrong.
You're welcome.
All right, so we got a win. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. We're 1 for 1, and now we'll go to 2. Who has 2?
I've got one. We didn't discuss that, but
Oh, well, are you ready?
I can be ready. Yes,
Okay, I'll edit this out.
I can be ready. So
I used to have some, but I haven't in a
Asking
long
Google
time.
for help.
So you made a mistake some time ago when you said, "Oh, I've got some ready."
I know, right?
It made me a little lazy, but
So this is one of these.
wait a minute. I'm gonna... Brother Hodo,
Yes.
what, would you like to participate and offer us something up today?
I would. I
Okay,
would.
great.
So these are one of these. Which of these things is not like the other? So,
Okay.
which of these?
is not like the
Which of
other?
these is not in the Bible?
Okay.
A circle, a square, triangle, or a line?
I have one question. You talking about the word or the actual thing?
The word.
Okay. Could you list them again, please?
Yes. A circle, a square, a triangle, a line.
This is difficult.
I'm going to go with circle on
You
this
get a
one.
line,
You're gonna
I
go
get a
with circle?
pole, honey.
Yeah.
We'll go down to the fishing hole.
Yeah. Call that hole.
Call that hole.
There you go.
No circle of fire or anything?
Circle.
Back in the day, all
Johnny
the architecture.
Oh, yeah. Ring of fire. Yeah.
The ring of fire. All their architecture, building, and all that kind of stuff. They're using the squares to keep things
Right. So square's definitely in there.
know,
Which
and-
is made of what?
lines.
Well, yeah, no, yes.
Triangles.
That's what I was saying. It's
Yeah.
two triangles.
So I'm
is a
kind of
square.
thinking the ones that are have the straight edges on them. I'm going to just lean towards that. I think they're in there because they all kind of go together with buildings.
This would be fascinating if circle is not in the Bible. Does this mean that we can no longer in humanity use circles?
Or sing, may the circle be unbroken.
That's right.
Right?
Could
So
change
no
it to
more circles for
May the
Kumbaya.
square
Be
be unbroken.
unconstructed circle. So, like in Revelation, there's nowhere.
Why are you asking me? This is my question.
I'm just looking for anybody that has an answer right
Google it
now.
for us and tell us.
Hold on, let me find it.
Okay, so this is a really good one because you would just think circle would be somewhere in that Bible, wouldn't you? Or
You would
is it
think
just
all of
me?
them would be in there, really.
Well, yeah.
I think about the word band because that's what that comes from. Like this is a band.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's a lot of the worship times were that way. They're in the round.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where.
There's the word round in there. That was almost the Star
I
Spangled
was
Banner.
going to say, don't start that.
Anyway,
Hey, Jim.
so y'all are saying that circle is an Outty.
I want to say circles the out on this one. Think about, you ever looked at stuff for the Freemasons? And they have all kinds
all
of symbolism and
angles
stuff.
and lines,
I don't
squares.
remember them having a circle
Nope.
in there.
Nope, it's pyramids, the square, carpenter square, or the mason square, I guess. Interesting. But line is definitely.
I would think.
We talk about plumb line. That
Yeah.
This is fascinating, but I'm going to go with y'all and say, I guess my gut says no, circle's not in there.
No circle. No circle.
boy, I'm not convinced.
This buzzer is a circle. The button, I just wanted to point that
It
out.
is. And it's not in the Bible.
No,
That buzzer is not in the Bible.
buzz, the word buzz, I don't think is in the Bible.
On the next episode of Mike the
It's
Baptist.
buzz. I guess we're
That's
outies.
intriguing.
It is, isn't it?
I'll go along with the crowd, but I'm intrigued with that.
I am too, because I would think all of those would be
Yeah.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Fascinating.
it's our consensus. Is that our consensus for just?
So one of
good
them
with it.
has to be out,
Yep.
Only one of them.
and the other three are absolutely in.
The others are in. Yep.
Wow.
Okay. We're going with Outty just to get an answer, and then we're interested.
You're outie on which
Circle.
one? On circle. Proverbs 8:27. When he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep.
Wow. So it's line. No, it's not. It's triangle. Wait a minute. It's triangle, isn't it?
It's trying.
The concept of a triangle and
triangle is the
a
word
God,
that's not in
Yes.
the Bible.
But
but
triangle.
the word is not.
I wish we could do that over because I would have used common sense
Well, you know what?
on the word.
We have modern technology.
I can edit the heck out of this.
I think we're going to say triangle.
Yeah. See all these really, really bad edits over the word circle and triangle.
Are there other places that circle?
That was just the one I had put in there.
That just
Yeah.
that bothered me.
That's very
They
interesting.
use the word sphere sometimes.
Right.
But circle, they would have used that word translated in the triangle. Yeah, just common sense would have made you
So what are you saying?
I didn't use
We
a
had
lick
no
of common
common
sense.
sense among us.
Not a lick of it. So
Hey, good job though.
yeah, it was good. Very good.
Thanks for
Both of those
failing.
were really good. Thanks for playing in your Outty today. We'll be back.
Oh, wow. What a great contestant and a fine sport today on Inny or Outty, America's almost favorite new game show. Study up, future guest people. You're next in the hot seat for Inny or Outty.
Folks, take out your Mike the Baptist hymnals and turn to page 24. We're going back in time. Today's hymn is sparked by the Inny or Outty conversation about shapes, circles. It's good to know, actually, that circles are in the Bible. It's kind of a relief because I was going to lose sleep over that. It just didn't seem right, did it?
Right.
I was so shocked.
I agree.
You're going to go round and round with that one, weren't you? All
I was going to go round and round in
Yeah.
circles. You know what's ironic? This happens in churches. These coincidences. It's just funny how this happens. Number 24 in the Mike Baptist hymnal is "Will It Go Round in Circles?" And we're going to sing that as our closing hymn today in all reverence that we can muster at this point in our little program here. Good luck to you, mustering your own reverence. That might make a good shirt too. Muster your reverence. Guess not. Sing along with us if you know it. If you don't, sing along with us, because that's what you do in church. If you don't know a hymn in church, you just
Watermelon.
kind of watermelon. You just move your mouth and pretend like you're. Isn't that correct?
The whole choir does that sometimes.
That's a whole nother story.
It is.
I've got a song, ain't got no melody. I'm gonna sing it to my friends. I've got a song, ain't got no melody. I'm gonna sing it to my friends. Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? I've got a story, ain't got no moral. Let the bad guy win every once in a while. I got a story, ain't got no moral. Let the bad guy win every once in a while. Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? Man. Well, thanks for being here on this interesting episode of Mike the Baptist. The next time we're all going to be rested because this is really bizarre when everybody's tired and then they get jacked up on coffee. This is really bizarre. If you were actually here with us, you would know the meaning of bizarre in a different way. But you're not, so you're safer. Anyway, thanks for being with us. We'll be back next time on the 3 Preacher series of Mike the Baptist. Preachers' Wives are coming right up, just so you know. We're going to be taping Preacher's Wives series the first of next week. And so those of you who have been waiting on some of those, got them coming up. Should be interesting. Should be going around in circles there too. We'll see what happens. Hey, thanks for being with us. H.D. Jones, Neil Andrews, Michael Koontz, myself, I'm Mike the Baptist. And been fun talking with you. Remember, folks, we're all just Christians.
Trying.
Not.
To cuss.
That's the first time that's ever happened. I kind of like that. Okay.
Way to go, fearless leader.